to the podcast. I'm so excited. We have one of my favorite people ever here, Sara Davison. She is going to be talking about things that honestly I don't even fucking know how to talk about myself, which is why she's here. She is an AI expert, and what she has done in such a short amount of time as a business owner in regards to AI, not only just digesting it and understanding the vision that business owners have and how to integrate AI in there, but just like what she's actually created as a business, what she's been able to do in a short amount of time, I think is so fucking incredible. She's one of my clients. She's one of my favorite people to talk to about business ever. She's such a visionary, and I'm so excited to have her here on the podcast. So Sara, welcome to Full Plate of Pasta.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to jam with you. Let's go.
I know. She's like, so what's like the plan? I'm like, we don't have a plan, which is actually, I think, the best thing. Now, Sara and I have known each other for like 7 months. It's not been that long, but it's weird because I feel like I've seen you in like 18 evolutions of your business and just like what's happened. Sara and I have this thing in common. I feel like we move very quickly. We pivot very quickly. We just digest like things very quickly. We move, just like everything we do, I just feel like is very fast paced. And obviously she's in industry that is very fast paced, but not a lot of people know how the hell you got here. I think if we went to your profile, you'd assume that you were like the kid at 5 years old, like sitting and like building blocks or like something. I just feel like when people hear AI, they think of like Elon Musk, or they think of people who are just one of those crazy techie weirdos from like day one. Was that you? Give us the insight. Like, how the hell did you get here? How did you learn so much in such, I feel like, such a short amount of time?
And it is. And I think that's one of the things that I reflect with people a lot, because now I'm teaching this stuff, is that I went all in on AI, as in the moment that I decided was like the 1st of May last year. So that's when I was like, okay, something's happening here and I want to be part of it. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to do that. And so that's when I really immersed myself in it. I have not been like, this has just been barely over a year, right? So, so like for anyone there who's kind of like thinking they feel kind of excluded from being able to leverage this technology or teach it or do whatever they want, like I just wanted to give you a reality check that I've barely been doing this a year, and and I've come such a massive ways from where I was. But I am not technical. So my background in enterprise was in tech sales. So I'm very comfortable with technology, but I've never coded anything in my life. That is not a prerequisite. You just need to be comfortable with like understanding technology and challenging yourself a little bit. And so, so that's when I really like went into things in 1st of May last year, and it's been one hell of a ride, honestly. It's been wild.
Sure. So take us back into May when you say that's when you got started, because I think a lot of business owners, when I'm talking to people and I'm bringing business owners on, they're always like, how did they get started? What happened? Because I don't think you would have predicted kind of everything that's happened in the last year. You probably had a very different path when you started, and you probably, even when you got into business, you had a different vision of maybe what you were wanting to accomplish with business. So take us back to May. What happened? What started? Like, give us the full rundown of that.
Yeah. So I think my kind of beginning of the AI, like, being conscious of it was pretty much like everybody else when you like ChatGPT took off, and then, there was just so much more awareness around it. And I was like I was obsessing over it, and I was like, okay, now I need to do something about it, because I'm spending all my time thinking about this thing and like, experimenting and things. So I joined an AI community where basically there were like thousands of people like me who wanted to learn the stuff and wanted to get ahead and create businesses out of it. So I found that like was a pivotal point in my journey in terms of like actually putting, getting ahead and putting it to work, not just messing around with it. And I ended up doing a fellowship under someone who is very like well known and well respected in the space. So she kind of took me underneath her wing, and I learned a lot. And I guess by association became kind of well known as well in the space. I wouldn't say that I'm a celebrity or anything, but yeah, but that was definitely like kudos, gold stars to be connected with someone like that. And then I just started like, doing projects with people and getting my hands dirty a little bit with it, and experimenting before I think it was February/March this year that I actually went, okay, enough with the like training wheels, enough working with other people. I want to do my thing with this.
Yeah. Can you go in a little bit more on that from last year? Because I think a lot of people assume that businesses are started because people sit down one day and say, I'm going to launch a business, and they launch. And I think what's very similar to you and I is we kind of just went down a rabbit hole of something, and then the business came with it. So when
Yeah.
you originally kind of started dabbling in this world of AI, what was like the true intention? Like what got you there? What was the thing that you're like, I'm really wanting to get out of this? Was it a business? Was it something else?
Yeah. I think it was a business. I knew, like, I felt in my bones that this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and it has the kind of energy and momentum, and even bigger, I feel, than like, the internet. When the internet kind of happened.
Yeah.
Um, and I really felt like there was just something that I knew I wanted to do in this space. I didn't exactly have the full picture for sure.
Yeah.
I kind of like I went through a lot of iterations of like my persona, I guess, in this space, and what I was offering and what I was doing, and I kind of faked it a little bit in the beginning, and all of that kind of stuff. But for me, like, I definitely knew that this was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and that I was going to go after it. So,
I
um, but how, like, I did not have a business plan going into it. That's it.
happen. I just don't. And I think that's a very normal thing. Is a
Yeah.
lot of business owners think they have to have every puzzle piece together before they start. And I think for you, you're like, look, I see an opportunity here. I'm going to follow the opportunity, and the pieces will kind of fall
Yeah.
into place with it. So, what when you first started kind of looking into AI, deep diving into understanding AI, what did you believe AI was? Like in your definition, what do you feel like you would have defined AI as? Or like what I guess people would know AI
Mm.
as? Like what did you envision that? Or what did you, I guess, believe it was
Mm.
back in last year?
Good question. Oh wow, that's a hard question.
Oh no, you can't give a
Okay,
reason.
what did I believe it was? Like, I'm trying to think, do I believe it's anything different? I guess,
Yeah.
like, my definition of it is the same,
Okay.
from the point of view that it is, and, that we have figured out a way to scale intelligence, essentially,
Yeah.
um, to help us be more productive, like, basically take us to the next level, take humanity and the way that we live and we work, like, everything's going to change, and
Yeah.
everything is changing. Even the way that, even if you're still just dabbling with ChatGPT, like, I'm
Yeah.
sure that you see it, you're like, oh wow, like, I can get so much more done. And I guess the difference between where I was last year and now is really getting the runs on the board with businesses and seeing what the impact is on a dated, like, on an actual ROI basis, on what
Yeah.
that actually means.
Yeah.
So I feel like I get the taster, like the flavor, and now I'm like cooking with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know. I like that a lot. So you started the business back in
Yeah,
this year officially. How did that
yeah.
like come about? What did that look like?
Um, yeah, so I work with someone called Tyler, and we actually we met in the community that I mentioned, and we both did a fellowship at the same time, and we like jam really well together. We work really well together. He's like the most like he's the exact opposite of me. Like, he's like got a chicken farm in Tennessee, and he's like very like he's got a like very southern way. So it's like country boy, city girl.
Yeah.
Um, but we have very different skill sets to bring to the table, and we were just like, well, let's just do actual projects together. And things started like, basically, we had like platforms that we use started referring business over to us because we got so good at using them. And they're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, we've got, like, a client that wants implementation, and so they'd send us the client, things like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of started like that, from actually getting runs on the board, with these platforms and learning how to use them, being preferred partners.
Yeah.
And then we had the same thing with AI consultants where, there would be very much on the like first 10%, which is like the education and the like strategy side. And then their clients would love it and say, okay, we're ready. Let's get it like integrated into our business. And they'd be like, holy crap, I can't do this. So they started referring businesses over to us for implementation work. And it's kind of evolved from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we do implementations and the consulting and the strategy, and we teach people what we do as well.
Yeah. What I think is really interesting is you're one of my very few clients that has like a partner in your business. Can you talk
Mhm.
about like the relationship with a partner? Because I think a
Yeah,
lot of people, when they think business, they either think team or they think solopreneur, then
yeah,
maybe team. But you went in from
yeah.
like a partnership standpoint. Like, what would you, I guess, advise people to think about when it comes to choosing a partner? Because you guys work very well together and it's like the perfect match, I feel like.
Yeah, and it's very rare because I've also worked with other people where like it just wasn't, it didn't have that the like it's kind of like a relationship in a bit, like when it's right, you get that kind of vibe check.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I guess I never kind of even myself, thought that I would go into business with someone. I always had this idea that it would just be me and then maybe people who work for me.
Yeah.
And so this is surprising for me, honestly. Like, and it's been good for me because I feel like you and I are very similar, where I like want to have control over everything.
Well,
Um, and
Sarah,
like set the direction and really drive the way that I want. Like I've got my vision and things like that. And I think maybe the lucky thing about this dynamic that we have is that I'm the one who's naturally doing that. You know what I mean? And he is like, that's just not his jam. So like we play well together in this space where um, he's like the mad scientist, that like he just wants to be building stuff and like learning new stuff. And I'm the one who's like driving things forward. So um, it's been a very like interesting road for me, but we've been working together in some sort of capacity for 2 years.
yeah.
Um, from the fellowship and things like that. And it's like, well, if things would have felt like if there were any red flags, I think I would have spotted them already. So
Yeah. It's this is like such a cool thing that you guys have such a great relationship. I obviously do not know him, but you and I have
yeah,
worked together for a while, and it's been very cool seeing that evolve. So you guys met through that group. You guys started the business at the beginning part of this year. Well, who was the first client? Like, how did we get the first
yeah.
client? What did that look like? I know it's so different now, but like, what did that first client or two look
Yeah.
like for you?
So that was literally a one of our like the platforms that we work really well with, like that we've been building with. And this is my strength is I'm really good at like building relationships and partnerships and things like that. And so they were like, we love you guys, and we still have a lot of partnerships like this where they send us business really. And so
Yeah.
that's how it happened. They referred when they had inquiries that they referred over to us. So yeah, that's how it started. And same thing with the AI consultants. A lot of our business is coming from AI consultants who like trust us. They love our work. They're kind of like groupies that follow us around when we do things. So it's really been like we've been kind of lucky. But I guess maybe lucky is not the right word. We saw like we positioned ourselves right, you know,
Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
for with a very unique skill set that is, in demand and going to be more so coming up.
Yeah.
So,
So when we first started working together, I think,
yeah,
well, I actually don't know. I feel like I needed you, I should have gone back and like looked at exactly what the
yeah,
message was. We kind of had like seen each other around. You had kind of like been dabbling in stuff, but I feel like a lot of your vision was more organic social and like, how can I grow my audience? But I think a lot of what we've worked on over the last like 6 months has been more like what your positioning is, because I think you
yeah,
said it earlier, your positioning in a really disruptive industry is kind of the make or break. So how do you feel like you're positioning or your clarity around the position and your unique value proposition, how has that shifted in the last 6 months?
Yeah. I feel, and it's been like experimental, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like right from the beginning when I was like on TikTok and different like platforms and things like that. And yeah, I think it was very experimental, like, because I wasn't even sure at that stage what it was I was offering and who it was I was speaking to. And I think out of that experimentation and obviously our work together in terms of um, really freaking going for it, you know, like just like that, the opportunity, like just seeing the opportunity for what it is. And then I feel like, you know, when we started working together, there was a real turning point. I don't know if you kind of felt it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where I feel like when we started working together, I was a different person. And then it was like literally in the last few months where I was just like, I'm embodying this opportunity and who I want to be in it. And that's really when my business started taking off, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, but it didn't kind of just start there, right? Like it was a lot of experimentation and kind of figuring it out myself because, you know, like it's a new business and
Mm-hmm.
it's a new field and it's like everyone's frigging figuring it out still,
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah, it's
a lot of
definitely, I
moving.
think a lot of people really struggle with that. I think I struggled with it too, but I think we're very similar personalities where we're like, well, if I am dealing with shit, the easiest way to get through the shit is just to push through it, where a lot of people sit in it. You and I are very much
Right.
like a push through it type of
Yeah.
individual. So can you talk about that piece a little bit? This summer
Yeah.
I felt it was something in you. I could like literally
Yeah.
physically like feel it from you of this, like, I
Mhm.
feel like I'm about to take off. How are you navigating that? Because I think a lot of your business you had to just do without even knowing what was going to work. It
Yeah.
was a lot of
Yeah.
experimenting.
Yeah.
What was like that process like for you? Because I think a lot of people are sitting in that right now.
Yeah. Um, how do I put it? Everything is an inside job first.
Yeah.
Like everything in life, whatever you want in life, in business, whatever it is, it's
Mm-hmm.
first an inside job.
Mm.
And I could have had all of the intentions and plans and like, you know, and even put out content or whatever. But I feel like the turning point that you felt was when I really felt that. It's like
Yeah.
if I if I want to be the person, like if I want this in my life, I need to be that person that gets the thing that I want.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was like the the click when things started clicking for me. But I didn't just like sit there and go, oh yeah, well that's what it is, and I'll just, you know, kind of sit in it. Like I still didn't have the answers, you know, like we even the course that we launched,
Yeah.
I didn't know what was actually going to be in it. I launched it and started selling it, and then I was like, holy shit, I've got 35 people or 50 people, whatever, that have bought this. I've got to like build it.
Yeah.
Um, so, but I think like you've got to do that with the market. Like you've got to have the willingness to try things and to
Mm-hmm.
fail in inverted commas, um, and see what the market wants. Like
Yeah.
otherwise, how would you know? You know?
Yeah. I always
Yeah.
say momentum follows momentum. What was your like momentum mover? Like what was the thing where you're like, all right, I'm gonna do it? Was it launching the course, would you say? And can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I I think it was. Um, yeah, because I think when I had something that was, I mean, we were doing projects and things like that anyway, and we've had deals in the pipeline, but I think like the course kind of happened really quickly, as in the demand for it, how it got all put together. And I feel like I really thrive on that momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe what like I needed, you know, it's just that like the rush and
Mm-hmm.
the energy that, you know, you get behind something that kind of starts to take off and then you're just like, I'm not stopping.
Yeah.
I'm going harder now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love the fact that you pre-launch too.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, I've always called it pre-launching. Some people call it different things, but pre-launching is basically when you start selling an offer that's not technically built yet. Now, it's very easy to do with like a mastermind or something else where there's gonna be like a live coaching element, which I know you have, but
Yeah.
it's very sometimes overwhelming for business owners when you're like, I have to have coursework and I have to have all this stuff because I'm gonna have
Yeah.
20 or 30 people in a program or on a course or whatever it is that has to receive something. It can't just be like my brain. And so you guys decided, which I'm so happy you did, you decided to pre-launch this program. You basically were like, look, here's this thing, buy it, and I'm going to figure it out once I have people interested. And I think what you said about that being a momentum mover, and that's why I like wanted to bring that up, is so many people are sitting there saying like, I need the audience and then I'll build the offer. And a lot of times it's like, I need one. I always say like, you just need one. You just need one. You get the offer, you get the momentum, and the rest will follow. And
Yeah.
you had 35 people, right?
Not
Sign
like
up for?
50. 50
Oh
or
my
something.
fucking
Yeah.
God. Okay, so Sarah's first public offer, mine is kind of that consulting done for you work that she's been doing, which I'll get to in a second because some of you guys are like, so what do you do? I bet probably half the people are like, I love this girl. She sounds so brilliant. What the fuck does she do? But you launch your first offer, you have 50 plus people in that. Like, how did that make you feel?
Mhm.
That was insane. You just launched your business like 9 months ago.
Yeah, and I was kind of like shitting myself the whole way through going because it was like, built as we were teaching it essentially. And I was like, oh my God, are they going to hate it? And the number of people, like, we have people who are just like, when is the next thing? I have my credit card ready, It's like, and so um, maybe I underestimated what the value of my knowledge, maybe I like underestimated how valuable that was going to be for other people.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think that really was like one of those things that I was like, yeah, like people are into this, they're paying for it, and they want more. So yeah,
100%. So what are people paying for? Because I'm sure, like I said, people are probably like, what do you
yeah,
actually do? And I want to go into like
yeah,
AI in general, like what it is, because I think most people are probably thinking chat GPT. Knowing it's more complex, I think we see, Elon on TV and we're like, oh, there's more to it. But I think we either go robots and aliens and people taking over
yeah,
our lives through chat GPT, like we don't know what the middle part is
yeah,
and more in the
yeah,
middle. So what was that course about? How did you decide to
yeah.
launch it? How did you launch it? How did you get people in it? How did you run it? Give me the full breakdown of
Okay.
that. Because your
Yeah. So
execution was so good, Sarah. It was so fucking good. So good. I want to buy it. I need to be in it. So good.
the course is called How to Scale a Business with AI Workflows. And essentially what it is, it's like a 4-week, it's got some live sessions in there as well as pre-recorded.
Yeah.
And we have a whole bunch of assets and everything like that of what we learned, the foundations of what we learned in terms of how we're doing things, because we had enough like runs on the board in terms of scaling businesses with AI.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, okay, well, how do we give people the foundations of that?
Mm-hmm.
So essentially what we're doing in the course is taking people from the really basic understanding of AI. Some people have been doing AI courses for like 2 or 3 years now, and they still were like, wow, this course is like the best thing I've done in 2 years. But we've had people who also like are just starting with AI. And so it's taking them really from the fundamental, what the heck is AI and why should I care about it? And what are businesses like actually, what do these look like when businesses are scaling with AI? Like what are the ROI numbers? Um, where can I put AI integrate AI into my business? Like clarifying all of that to then moving into like, well, what are the skills I need to have to be able to do this myself, whether it's for my own business or for other businesses? So we go from like prompt engineering, which is it sounds really complicated and it does have a certain science to it, but you don't need to know how to code. I think when you say engineering, people are like they switch
Yeah.
off. I don't know how to code. I know how to prompt in English language in a way that these systems to get them to do what I want them to do, basically. And then we
Yeah.
go into building like AI assistants and AI workflows. So more into like how do I set up essentially a workforce of AI assistants in my business, and how do I and automate more of the processes with the help of AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That that's like such a weird like thing to think about as you're saying it out loud, because I remember 2 months
yeah,
ago, maybe a month ago, you did a training for our girls, and I think a lot of people thought AI was a lot more complex, and it is. Well, let me see why. AI is complex, but it's literally like your ability to understand how to simplify the complexity. I feel like that's what AI
yeah,
really. I mean, you'll probably be like, actually, that's not the definition afterwards. You're like, you fucked up with that. But that's how I look at it as someone who doesn't really
yeah,
understand AI. Is think about ChatGPT, you're putting in direction and then
yeah,
the complexity can do its job. But a lot of people don't know how to utilize the complexity and they just
yeah,
avoid it at all costs. So I think a lot of people, when they think of ChatGPT, it's not necessarily anything crazy. It's just how can you take the complexity of this brain, this amazing scripting brain, and how can you drive it to optimize what you're needing?
yeah,
So when you are talking about business owners that are using this,
yeah,
typically, I mean, I know every business owner can use AI in some way. I mean, I'm sure people
yeah.
who are like literally on their week one are using ChatGPT, which is technically AI in some
Mhm,
format. But
mhm.
what type of businesses do you feel like are missing out on AI? Is it everyone? Is it a certain size? When should people start paying attention? What are your thoughts on that?
Mm. Um, I really want to see more women businesses like drive their businesses forward with this, because pretty much all of our clients are either like male, like they're male business owners or male CEOs or whatever, and it like pisses me off because I'm so like I just want women to win with the technology,
Yeah,
and I really feel like who is missing. Okay, I'm not sure if it's who is missing out, but who I really want to see more of. Um, really really own it in their field using this technology as women, because it's absolutely possible, it's absolutely accessible. But right now all the bros are adopting this technology and like leveraging it. um and so yeah, I really want to see, because like we already as women have so many challenges in terms of becoming like like battling for funding and all of these different kind of things, and the access to funding. And what AI is doing is it's leveling the playing field, because it's making an incredibly powerful technology available to pretty much anyone who wants to like leverage it and use it.
yeah,
But I feel like a lot of women are still not clicking into it and that it's available to them. And I want part of my work in this world in 2025 to be more about, educating and just getting the word out, for more women to like really lead, because they have access with this technology.
yeah. I always say women are so smart, and sometimes
Yeah.
in these male-dominated fields, we actually dominate. Fun fact, like
Yeah.
even in, I always used to go back in the investing space when I was doing the financial coaching stuff. Women primarily are crushing it in the stock market in comparison to men. Like women
Right.
actually invest better than men. And I think it was fun watching so many women learn from you on how to basically prompt
Yeah.
different AI tools in their business. And these women are like going and executing. And I'm like, this is so fucking cool. Like, and it's not big business owners. I primarily work with a lot of six, sometimes even seven-figure business owners. These are not individuals who are running, billion-dollar companies.
Mhm.
So, what are some tangible things that you feel like six and seven-figure business owners, or even like, they're at their first 50K, 100K, 150, wherever they
Mhm.
are, those smaller business owners that are listening, the female founders that you want to
Mhm.
speak to, what are some examples of things that they could be utilizing AI for right now to
Mhm.
simplify and streamline and really amplify their business? I know I'm putting you
Mhm.
on the spot with that one.
No,
It's kind
no, that's fine.
of big,
um
but
yeah, I mean, if you're not using ChatGPT, start there, because I think it's a really powerful technology for you when you first start. um but it's not customized to your business, and you can get it there a certain way. um,
mm-hmm,
but I think that that's like a great first place to start, to just really feel for what is possible with this technology, and then also the limitations of it, because then you're like, oh, it doesn't sound like my brand, and I can't get it to sound like my brand, and like it's hallucinating, which is it's making things up. So you get to like really get a sense by using it on a daily basis. um But like as an example, because I know there's a lot of coaches as an or consultants in this field, and one of our latest clients, they're like a CIO,
Mm,
chief information officer, like collective, and we they so basically they like consult with schools and medical institutions and things like that on like their technology roadmap for the next 5 years. And
yeah.
so their whole discovery process is like it takes months, because they've got to interview the right people, collect the right information, synthesize all of that, and then put it out into a like 5 year roadmap. But it was that process in itself, because it's so time consuming, is like a bottleneck that's in their business, and they're not able to grow to the next level. So I'm saying this because there's a lot of coaches and consultants, and maybe you do a lot of like you know um VIP days or VIP weeks or whatever it is. And
Mhm.
so we were able to take this like very complicated like 5 year technology roadmap for
Yeah,
a medical institution,
yeah,
and and basically create an AI workflow that is trained on both the business of the CIOs and the business of their clients, so you can obviously adapt it, and takes like this like 3 or 4 week process down to, with their manual input, it would be like 1.5, 2 days. So that's what's
okay.
possible, like with really customizing it and understanding how to leverage this technology so that it works for you. um, and that you can actually then use that, because you're able to scale now, like they're able to take on 5 times as much clients,
Yeah.
with the same amount of people.
Yeah. It's such a like cool thing to think about. I think one of the reasons I love hearing about your business is I've always been very prideful of the fact, and maybe egotistical around the fact, that I'm like simple business. Like I'm like, I don't want a big team. I don't want a lot of moving parts. And
Yeah.
something I've learned a lot from you is just how much, if you can integrate those workflows into your business, they kind of eliminate that duplicative work and can increase your
Mhm.
capacity. That's how someone like me could run a $10 million company
Exactly.
with a team of one. And I think that's
Yeah.
really powerful. Is so many women, when I talk to them about their vision of their business, a lot of them are like, I just want to feel freedom. I want to know that
Yeah.
I don't have to be married if I don't want to in order to feel
Right.
financially free. I know you're married, so that's not a negative thing, but some people that's like not their path. Or maybe
Yeah.
it's not kids, or maybe it's travel. Or I have an incredible client I just signed who's like, I really want to like start multiple nonprofits, and there's things that are going to be done there. A lot of times our business is not always our main vision. So the
Right.
business is a means to an end. And if we can create something so fucking impactful that allows us to
Mhm.
amplify every area of our life, I think that's when women win. And it's
Mhm.
not even about the fact that we have the $1 million business or the $10 million business or the whatever. It's the fact that I'm talking to women who are like, they don't even care about the income, they care about the impact. So if we can
Mm.
amplify the income, it actually amplifies the impact. And I think that
Yeah.
that's what's really, really powerful for you. So ChatGPT,
Yeah.
it sounds like a very good thing to think about. Where can people just, obviously you're a resource, but where can people just like learn even where to start? Because I think a lot of people are gonna be like, okay, ChatGPT, I get that, but like, how do I
Mm.
even know? How do I even prescribe myself how AI could, or diagnose myself how AI could be something important? Like, where should
Yeah.
women start there? Like, how can they even kind
Right.
of begin their journey?
Um, yeah, because a lot of, business owners or companies we work with might not have, might not know what's possible with the technology. Because
Mm-hmm.
how could they? Like, they're just, it's fine. You don't need to know what's possible with the technology, but
Yeah.
I bet like what that one thing is in your business that you're like, it's so time consuming, so repetitive, so like, oh, if I could just resolve this one thing, I bet that could be resolved with AI. It could be
Yeah.
like the friction that's in your business. I haven't seen a case where we haven't been able to help a business with that. Um, so I guess that would be like, if you're like, okay, well, I get ChatGPT, but where else in my business, like where I would be able to leverage this technology, that is a key area. Is like, where is the most amount of friction that's in your business,
Mm-hmm.
and that friction in your business that's stopping your growth or your scale can be eliminated, or the friction can be reduced significantly by building in and integrating AI.
I love that. I think a lot of people, they think of immediately systems, but then you have to set up the systems, you have to maintain the systems. I think a lot of people think like systems or team to fix those
Mm.
problems. And I think it's very cool that you have an alternative method that also adds a lot of capacity into businesses, different than just hiring someone to manage a process
Yeah.
or setting up kind of a back end
Yeah.
process. I think is really cool. So I
Yeah,
love that.
I think with this technology especially, we're going to see, and you come from a tech background as well. There are layoffs happening like left, right, and center in these tech companies themselves as well. And I think we're going to be seeing more and more like small businesses, solo businesses even, that are doing that are bringing the value or generating the value of massive companies that are much bigger right now, because of what this technology can do if you leverage it right. So exactly like you said, you as a solo person, Ashley, can build a $10 million business as a
Yeah.
solo person with like maybe like one or two other people if you want. I don't think it's going to necessarily be about building like big corporations. I think the small, nimble, but like you're just going to be able to do so much more with this technology. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm really excited about seeing more women do.
I love it. I was actually giving my question of like, where do you see the future of AI? Because
Yeah.
I think again, people either go really one way or the other. They think ChatGPT and stealing test answers, or they think of like what that one kid got in trouble because he used AI for his like book report or something,
Right.
and was like, that's fine, it's fine. People either think I think simple or they think crazy scary, like robots taking over the world. I think
Mm-hmm.
people don't understand that gray piece, and I'm really happy that you kind of talked through that. I guess then my
Mm-hmm.
last question would be, if it's not about the future of AI, what's the
Mm-hmm.
future of your business? I know that it's going to change. Probably anything you
Mm-hmm.
say today, it's not going to be even remotely what will happen in a year,
Mm-hmm.
but so much has changed for you in the last
Yeah.
couple months. You have an incredible course, you have a huge
Yeah.
audience who is dying to hear every fucking thing that you want to talk about any topic. They're like ready to spend as much money as you're going to charge them for your knowledge. Where do you want to be 6 months, 12 months, 5 years? Like, where do you envision your business going? Like, what's kind of the general direction of
Mm-hmm.
where the enterprise is going?
um
Because that's who you
oh
are. You're
gosh.
an enterprise, Sarah. Like, you
Yeah.
are not a small business. You are it's so just fucking cool to talk. First of all, it's funny because Lexi, by the way, Lexi's my assistant for anyone. Lexi and I will get off a call after Sarah talks, and we're like, did you know what she just said? And she's like, no. I'm like, what she just said? Like, you're so smart. And it's so
Oh.
crazy because I think, again, people would assume that at 5 years old, you were like building robots in like your parents' basement or something. And like, you're like, nope, I came into this, I learned it, I simplified it, I broke it down, I made it easy to digest, I built a business
Mm-hmm.
around it. Like, your process has been so crazy. I just had to say
Mm-hmm.
that. Like, it's very insane when I talk. I have to like literally digest everything you say because I'm like, she's so fucking brilliant and you're very intimidating. But I want to know, like,
Yeah.
where's the vision going?
um
Where's it going to
the,
be?
the reason I was hesitating is because like I'm learning to just go with the flow a lot, and the flow is like a tsunami right now. Because like one thing that I did not expect out of this course, and there are different moving parts to it, which we need to catch up about, by the way.
Totally good.
But I did not realize that we are basically building an army of people who are now going to be qualified to do what we do.
Yeah.
In a way, like we didn't design it that way, but they just like really want to be part of what we're doing. And then
Yeah.
so we've got that kind of string to pull on, and then the other string to pull on is that we're starting to get these projects that are way bigger than what we anticipated. And once we kind of like get one or two of these projects underway, which is like fine tuning a large language model, which is even wild for me to say for someone who's just started here like a year and a half ago. Um,
Yeah.
but 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 like we can probably bridge those two things, which is be able to do bigger and bigger projects with having some sort of like army of people to draw in and like facilitate all of that.
Yeah.
So um yeah, I did not like that wasn't part of the agenda when I started, or even like a month and a half ago, 90 days ago. Um, but I just kind of feel this energy to kind of like dream bigger and embrace and like just go all in, you know, like
Yeah.
if I have this opportunity and the skills and like the parts that are kind of falling in without me orchestrating or architecting any of it, it's kind of like I did something random and then something evolved out of it, and I did something random here and it evolved out of it, and I'm like, oh wow, there's like a connection here that I never like even considered. um so part of it is like me learning to just um this is going to sound very woo woo, but just like move with it, you know, like if this is where the universe is like, I feel like I'm kind of like being swept into something in a direction, and I'm having fun and I'm making money, and I feel like I'm on like one hell of a ride and I'm like really excited about it, then why not? Like why let anything in my mindset or anything kind of like hold me back, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want everyone to know that this summer, I hope it's okay that I share this. I remember Sarah like messaged me one day in Slack and she's like, I just want to make like 6 figures plus this summer. Like I want to fucking crush it. I'm gonna be amazing. Like I know it's gonna work out. And I was like, slow your fucking roll, girl. It's all coming together. Just trust the process. And this
Yeah.
girl put in the work. Like she was showing up, she was asking questions, she's on every call, she's like, literally just like immersing herself in her business. And then last week, she's casually messaging us, being like, "Yeah, so I'm like maybe sending out this like 6 figure contract. It could be like $1 million client, not $1 million year, you guys, $1 million client." And I think that's just such a testament of like following the momentum and
Yeah.
just like leaning in, even if you
Mm,
don't exactly know what you're leaning into yet. Like I think it's kind of like one of those things. If you just jump off the cliff and you're like, "I'm going to
yeah.
build the wings as they go down," it sounds and scary, but I think that's what makes people in the top 1%. And
Right.
people who are going to be in the top 1% in the future understand AI, even if they have not mastered it, because I think mastering it's a whole other complexity.
Yeah.
But if they are really looking at the vision of their business, they're going to be thinking simpler business. They're going to be thinking about grander scale. They're going to be thinking about greater capacity. Like they're going to be thinking all those things, and they're going to be like, how do we do it better? And AI
Mhm.
is such an incredible tool to leverage. And I think you've just, I mean, just we've scratched such a small surface today about AI. I just wanted people to get to know you a little bit as well because your
Mhm.
story's so cool. But I think that's what's really impressive about you is you've taken something that is maybe more of a male topic, maybe more of a chat over a beer topic, and you've made it something that women can get really excited about, and it's can completely change businesses. And that's why I'm like so proud of you. And I just think
Yeah.
this is such an incredible conversation. So for anyone who's sitting there saying, okay, that girl spoke a different language to me. This is a little bit more complex, or I don't know how to tap into this. Where can people find you? How can people connect with you? What the questions should they be asking? Like, just give us how we can talk with you after this
I
podcast.
feel like the best way, not even my website, don't go to my website because it's because it doesn't even reflect what I'm doing, and I really need to address that
Yeah.
at some stage. But probably LinkedIn is probably the best way to like connect with me, and you know, drop like a connection request or just mention that you've heard the podcast or whatever. And I think as far as like questions, I think just ask whatever's on your mind, because this is like you say, I have to take a step back every once in a while and just think that this is completely new. You know, what we're talking about today is very new and very like alien or very like different to
Yeah.
normal conversations. But so is the internet. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so is social media.
Yeah.
And look at how that's shaped how we work. And when we built entire businesses that didn't even exist before the internet, and then now off social media, like there was no such thing as a social media or content marketing agency or anything like that, you know, before all of that. And I think that that's something to consider, is that like the way that we are going to work is going to shift, and there's just going to be new things that kind of emerge from it. And it's, to me, it's so exciting to feel that, but also be, but like encouraging people to be embracing the change as well at the same time, you know, because if you don't have your business on the internet, like, do you even have a business these days? Like, you don't, right? It's going to be the
Yeah.
same thing.
Such a crazy, I can do all my online shopping. I can,
Yeah.
sign clients from Instagram. Like, it's very weird to think about, what the
Yeah.
internet was 20 years ago. And now in 20 years, what will AI be? And every business is going to be
Mhm.
like, AI is like half my business. And
Yeah.
some people haven't even thought about integrating it yet. It's just really crazy the direction we're going. But I will drop your LinkedIn below if anyone wants to follow Sarah on Instagram. I know she's going to be like, oh, don't follow me there, but her Instagram or her LinkedIn. She posts incredible content on LinkedIn. You guys, I watch every single one of her videos, and I forget sometimes it's like a professional site. I was going to be like, you fucking queen, let's fucking go. And I'm like, I can't say that on LinkedIn. I mean, I guess I
Yes,
could.
you can.
I was like, fucking let's go. But Sarah posts incredible value on LinkedIn. Like, I get a nugget of information every single morning. I look forward to her post. So I'll drop her LinkedIn below. If any part of you is like, my business just feels like it could be optimized in some way, I know you don't have the answer yet, you guys, of how to do that with AI, but let Sarah be a kind of doctor in prescribing you maybe something that can help you with whatever's going on in your business utilizing AI. She is excellent at that. Sometimes I'll say things and she's like, oh, we could have just done this with this one more. And I'm like, oh, yeah, of course. So if any part of this sparks something in you or you want to connect with her, just shoot her a message there. And Sarah, thank you so much for your time. This has been so much fun.
Thank you so much. It was so cool to hang out with you.